Welcome back to another episode of Local Search Tuesdays. This week, I'm going to share a more advanced strategy that will help you show up in nearby areas where you don't have a location. Every local business wants to expand its reach and show up in a wider area, but like I've mentioned in past videos, it takes a lot more to show up in searches in those cities than just listing a few city names in a comma-separated list. Wait a minute, Greg. Call me crazy, but this is sounding exactly like the video you did last week. Well, it's actually exactly the same thing I said at the beginning of last week's video. Don't believe me? Go watch. I'll wait. See what I mean? But there's a reason. We had a lot of people reach out and ask about city pages, so I thought I'd come back this week and talk about what they are and how to use them. Back in the spammy days of early SEO, city pages were just crappy pages that people threw up to try to show up in a bunch of different areas. They were always exactly the same content, just with the city name changed out. Zero value, even at the time. And now they'll actually hurt you. They'd be considered doorway pages, poor quality pages that are only meant to show up in search results where each page ends up taking the user to essentially the same destination. But if they're implemented correctly, city pages can be a killer tool in your local SEO utility belt. In markets that are less competitive, whether it's a more rural market or there's simply less competition, a few well-crafted city pages will help expand your reach to other areas. Like I've mentioned in the past, you have to own your own backyard first. If you're not showing up well in the city you're actually located in, you've got no chance of showing up in other cities. But once you've got that solid foundation, you should definitely try to expand your reach. Last week, I talked about local content silos, which is a more advanced and effort-intensive approach. But if you're in a less competitive area, you can get great results with a few simple city pages. Keep in mind, this tactic targets the organic results, not the map pack. You need a real-world physical location to show up in the map pack. So, what makes a good city page? You basically create the same thing you'd have as a multi-location business. A city-based landing page, only without the actual location. Optimize all of your standard elements: title tag, H1 heading, content, URL, alt text and images, and meta description so that the targeted city is included. So if you're a personal injury attorney and you want to show up in another city, you'd create a personal injury attorney page optimized around that city. It would include the same high-level overview about your firm as your primary personal injury attorney page, but it would need to be unique and engaging content that's optimized around the target city. You should include some information about the targeted city as well and testimonials from customers in that city. If you're a member of any local associations in that city, include that on the page as a trust signal. Using a template and just changing out elements won't work. You need a unique, high-quality page for each city. Remember, these need to be truly useful, engaging pages. So think about how helpful they'll be for real-world human users. If you're thinking only about Google, you're going to fail. Don't forget link building. You shouldn't need much, but pointing a few relevant links from entities and the targeted city to that city's page on your site will be incredibly helpful. Make sure your location pages are easy to find. You need an Areas We Serve link on either the primary menu or a submenu. Please don't list a crap ton of city names as links down in your footer. That's spammy and not helpful for human users. This isn't a strategy that you can blow out of the water. Too many looks bad and moves into the realm of doorway pages. Honestly, I wouldn't suggest doing more than 12 to 15 city pages at the most, but try to keep it at 10 or less. That's all the time we've got for this week's video, so you know what that means. Put your hand on the screen right here. We totally just high-fived because you learned something awesome. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week for another episode of Local Search Tuesdays.